out of the gun. Manning lets it fly. It's caught by Thomas. There's the record for Peyton Manning.
And welcome to the show, everybody. I am Mundungus Creevy alongside a 6'10" Mr. Boggins and Glenn Hauser. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share, comment, and turn on notifications so that you can get alerted anytime we go live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Also, tune into all of our podcasts. Broncos Talk every Tuesday at 7654. The Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast every Friday at 7654. And the Neighborhood pregame show that airs before every Broncos game. Now, remember, there is not going to be a Neighborhood pregame show this Sunday because there is no Broncos show.
What?
Or game or show or pregame, whatever. That thing,
Game?
Yeah, where we throw the ball. Run it, throw it.
How are we supposed to be depressed if there's no Broncos to lose this week?
Throw the ball, run the ball, tackle people unless you're Teddy. That kind of stuff,
Oh, geez.
So, how's everybody doing?
Good. How are you guys today?
Doing great.
What's everybody doing on their bye week?
Mike's like Mr. Roboto there. I don't know if it's showing up like that with anyone else, but
Just you.
Just you.
no.
No.
Everyone else looks clear. So this is a good day.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
We're professionals around here, guys.
Wow. Very professional. So, that game against the Eagles, that was
I forgot we have to talk about that.
super fun
Yeah.
times.
I was afraid you'd bring that up.
Super fun times in that game. Multiple times throughout the game, we had a chance to tie it or stay in the game or take the lead, and they decided they didn't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it just sucks. I mean, when you go, especially coming off of that huge game against Dallas, and then, you go playing at home, all the momentum leading into that game, and then just the way that game ended, or that whole transition that went by, it totally was not how anybody in Broncos country envisioned that game was going to go. And it really sucks because going into this bye week, this was supposed to be, kind of the Broncos kind of getting ready for part 2 of the season and, coming back and showing the league that, this team is far from done and out of it. But unfortunately, it raised more questions than it did give answers, and kind of feels like in a sort of way, we're kind of back to square one in terms of this team trying to find its identity.
Yeah, it's funny. Denver Broncos really know how to pull on our heartstrings as far as and not know exactly where we are as a team. Like coming off of Washington and being like, okay, we won, but barely. Like we obviously didn't play the way we should have. And then going into Dallas and stomping on them. And we just get so excited just to be just mashed in our face again with the Eagles. I mean, we went into this game knowing that Jalen Hurts is iffy at best, not something to really be that worried about. And he looked like Justin Herbert out there. Like it was just it was really annoying. And some of those passes though were just like the ugliest, prettiest passes you've ever seen, where he's just under duress and he just like that one to the tight end or to what's his name, Goddard on the sideline for the first down, where he just kind of is under duress and he just kind of chucks it, and just it's like this is how the game is going to go, isn't it? Like you just knew this is going to be one of those days where it's just gross. And the worst part about this whole thing is one thing to lose, but then afterwards talking to Fangio or hearing Fangio during the presser just talk like nothing's going to change. Just like, oh, we're fine. Well, we'll just keep going, just no coaching. No. I mean, I know that that's not really his say, but just to be not even to be we're going to go into the bye week, really analyze everything, really figure out what we want to do going forward. It's nope. We're still going to do exactly what we've been doing. And it's just this is very frustrating to watch and be a part of the whole entire time. So I'm excited for a week off, and hopefully, I don't know, something sparks during the Chargers game, which I don't know. It's a divisional game; anything can happen, I guess.
It was such a frustrating game, and I mean, I'm saying from a full team effort, team result, the focus has been on Teddy and what happened with that singular play, but I mean, that's a play that shouldn't have happened to begin with. But I mean, like Boggins said, we had such an opportunity here. We were all so optimistic. We were going to go into the bye 6-4. We were going to be tied for the most wins no matter what in our division. So you look at some of the other teams in our division. They, two of them lost. Obviously, there were two that played one another, but we just had such this golden opportunity and just pissed on our own leg. It was just and now we have 2 weeks to think about it, and we've got 5 division games coming up, and the fact that, like Marcus says, Vic is insistent that nothing is going to be different when we see this team again. It's really, really discouraging. It's not what I expected.
Well, I think that's the most aggravating part is like, we know that there are changes that need to be made. We know that there are players on the roster that have shown that they can help the team, and yet it doesn't seem like anything is going to change, which is just annoying. I'm not saying, obviously the title of the show and with the thumbnail, it's got Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock on it. Now I'm going to come out and say it right now. Drew Lock is not a better quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater. He's not. And even if Drew Lock went in there, I'm not expecting our record to be any different, but at least it would be exciting. Like I understand Teddy Bridgewater has issues converting third down, and he throws the ball short of the sticks, and it's boring, and we don't convert. But at the same time, like, you throw Drew in there, and he's going to bomb it and YOLO it, and then instead of having to punt the ball, he throws an interception. Or so I don't think it would matter which quarterback is in there, but at the same time, like, Teddy is that quarterback that is good when he has a lead and he's got a strong defense behind him. But when you don't have a strong defense and you're playing from behind, that's where Locke is better at. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm torn. I'm okay seeing Locke in there, but I'm just throwing out that he's not, at least in my belief, a better quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater.
I think what you're trying to say, Mike, is that it's like miracles aren't going to all of a sudden happen with a switch at that. But I mean, just even the fact that Shermer was out with COVID and Shula was going to come in, and I know it's the same playbook, but I just had a vision in my head that the play calling, outside of the Dallas game, Shermer, which was a gem by Shermer, but I figured the play calling would be somewhat different. They'd learn and take from things that were successful at the Cowboys, the stomping that we put on them. And not only did that not happen, it was some of the worst play calling we've seen all season. Shula is standing on the sideline, calling the plays, which you never see for an offensive coordinator. And he has experience doing that. So, I mean, it's not like going up to the booth. And when I saw him standing there with Rippon, I'm like, oh man, this is just not ideal. So even that, I mean, our hope of making some level of a change on just with play calling backfired on at least my hopes for sure. But
Kevin says, if Vic knew how to fix this team, we wouldn't have seen it last year and into this year. I hope I'm wrong, but realistically, there's nothing I see Vic doing that will help this team suddenly start playing well.
I tend to not push last year that much into Vic Fangio's bag of problems, just because it was an impossible season in every way. Like, COVID season, 53 mil on IR. I was willing to give him a semi-pass for that year, as far as the defense was still number one in the red zone for 2 years. But now we're at a point where we're really some of these teams that should not be doing what they're doing to us are doing what they're doing to us with a decently healthy roster. So, and especially when you preface this team on being a run and defense ball team, and now not like, what are we? Like, I don't like the idea of having a quarterback that that if you are in the dirt, like if you were playing from underneath, you are screwed essentially. So, and that just like, we have not been playing good enough defense to be dealing with that. So I don't know. I don't really care about Shermer being fired anymore. Before the end of the season, because it's just like,
keep him.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, like, whatever, we'll run it out and just see what we have at the end of the year. Because
now that we've seen like how bad it is with Shula, though, if let's say Shermer did get fired, would it then pass to Azani or Munchak?
No,
like let's say that there's 4 games left in the season, and Shermer and Fangio are gone.
It would probably, and Shermer and I don't think Fangio's gone before.
No, I don't think so.
So let's say Shermer and McMahon are gone.
I think still Shula. I think Shula still will have to run out the end of the year, and then you're wiping it clean. But I think to get to the end of the year, you're just putting in there who knows the playbooks and who has knows the playbook the best and has the most experience. And so I think it would be Shula. I mean, would I like it? No, but whatever.
No Name says no one at the top is doing any sort of self-criticism. This team is ready for a playoff push, but a lack of leadership and focus is going to end us this year. There's a lot going on. I do think that our roster has a great foundation, but there are definitely coaching is one of the big things, and we've got to find a quarterback. But then you question, like, let's say that we can't land an Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. We're looking at drafting a quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. Are we wanting to throw a rookie in there first year?
If
so then you're looking at retaining Teddy, right?
Yeah, if you're going to throw in a rookie in there, you got to get him a whole new offensive coordinator, basically a whole new offensive staff, revamping from the ground up. If you're going to go and try to get an Aaron Rodgers or a Russell Wilson, and George Payton still has a belief that maybe Vic Fangio can still turn it around, which I kind of, at this point, I'm starting to get the feeling that he kind of does. So Vic Fangio would more than likely use everybody else on his coaching staff as scapegoats just to save his own job if it were up to him. But I guess it all depends on which direction Payton wants to take this team in the offseason. If they go and try to draft the quarterback in the draft, then they're going to need an offensive coordinator to go with him. Drew Lock and Drew Bridgewater. Drew Bridgewater are more than likely gone. But I don't see either one of those guys staying. And if they do, they'll probably stay in more of a backup role. And I don't really see Teddy Bridgewater kind of going back to being, second fiddle to anybody. He'll probably go to another team if he doesn't get cut, I would say. Or if he really wants to stay and, play second fiddle and be, a leader or what have you, maybe he will stay. I mean, the coming off season is really up for grabs, and anything can happen from here until then.
Yeah, Kevin Dandino says you can listen to my rant on our post-game podcast, but I'll laugh at anyone who says Teddy is a good leader. He's a good person, I'm sure, but he lost all my respect when he didn't try on that fumble. And if anybody doesn't know, Kevin Dandino, he's over there at Orange Weekly. I don't remember their schedule, but they broadcast on on Facebook with Orange Weekly, so go check them out. Let's, as much as I don't want to, let's dig into the Teddy tackle of the century that was made in the game. So Melvin Gordon fumbles a ball on what, 4th and 1?
Yeah, 4th and 1.
Yeah, he converted it.
And then Slay picks it up, starts running the ball back. Everybody
Deshaun Jackson impersonation.
Yeah. So, like, everybody is basically like, you can see that Gordon's trying to run him down. Albert O's trying to run him down. Cam Fleming's trying to run him down. And then you've got Teddy, who looks at him and goes, "What?" And then backs out. Like,
yeah,
it's not so much that I'm angry about it. It's like I'm disappointed. Like, I'm like a disappointed father. Like,
come
on.
I
like,
get
you couldn't have taken the glove off and thrown it at him or like like screamed something at him, like
Oh, jeez.
dive in his legs and yell "Booyakasha!" Like, come on, slide at, like, even trip him, and I'll take a flag. That's fine. I would be more than happy to take a tripping penalty instead of just a bye as he runs by.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, I get it. Like, I get what he in the spur of the moment. He is not. It's not like he's practicing. Like he is experienced in tackling anybody. And it's not like. And I'm sure he's thinking business decision. I mean, he's cautious, Teddy. We all know that. This boy has had way too many head injuries in the past already. I'm sure he is a little bit hesitant about diving in there. Now, all that being said, should he have done it? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that is a bummer that wasn't his instinct. And I think that later on when he realized and saw the tape back, he's really bummed out that wasn't his initial instinct as well, just to do something. Like, that was very unfortunate to watch. And that was kind of just like a very big depiction of what we've seen so far from this Broncos team, where it's just effort. Like, that's just sometimes just lacking, and it's really hard to watch. And when you have someone that is like, I disagree with the leader comment by Kevin. I do think that Teddy Bridgewater is a leader. Do I think he messed up? Yeah. Do leaders mess up? Yeah. So I also don't think he's the future of this franchise, and I mean, I've thought that before, obviously before this incident, but I mean, this really did bum me out to the point where I am definitely on the lock train of just throw him in there, just do whatever now. Like, at least it's exciting to watch at a certain point. I just don't have much faith in this current staff and roster to really make a push for anything.
Well, like, there were a lot of people that were defending him, like, oh, well, I mean, he's not a Peyton Manning, so he shouldn't be expected to go and do it. It's like, dude, Peyton Manning tackled Calais Campbell. Like, he had 4 neck surgeries and he's about ready to retire, and he's going after Calais Campbell. Like, come on.
You can do like the cannonball move where you just like tuck it and just throw your body down. Just do something. Like,
slide in front of him and like blow on his shoe. Like,
dude would have reached his hand out to like try and just grab or something, no one would have said anything. But he's just like, no, change my mind. Like, that's terrible look. Especially when you have to go in the next day, probably the next day, and go over the tape with your team. Like, your team is having to watch this play with you now. And how bad does that look? Terrible.
It looks terrible.
Well, what's interesting about Monday is they had pressers. They were Zoom, and the media was not expecting a final player. And they said, we have one more player. And Brandon Cristal is saying, oh, maybe it's Chubb. And all of a sudden, Teddy appears on the screen. He was not scheduled, so the media did not know that was going to happen. And every question, obviously, that was directed to him was just, I mean, the arrows were just coming flying at him. And he said that, they all watched the game as a team, and he got called out. And it wouldn't surprise me if he got up there and apologized, or went into each of the meeting rooms and apologized, or he did take accountability. And I have to admit, when it happened, my initial thing was Baker Mayfield. I know Teddy's not Aaron Rodgers, but I mean, that was kind of an interesting angle on that tackle. What if he got hurt trying to make this play? Just do we need that? And then when we got the explanation immediately after the game, that's when I was like, you know what, maybe I'm on the wrong side of this defense, and I'm sure when Teddy watched the tape that he realized that it was really much worse than he had said. So there you go, Steve. All right, there you go. I wouldn't be opposed to that either.
I started put all the names in a hat, and
let's face it. I don't think any of us thought that he was the future. I'm a Teddy fan. I am impressed with him. on many different levels. But when we traded for him, we didn't expect that he was going to be the long-term guy. It's just disappointing. And if you could pull Kevin's last comment up, I think that makes. I think there's a lot to that, because if you think about it right now, we've won as many games already halfway into this season that we did all last season, right? So there is progress being made, but the fact that we're losing to teams that we shouldn't be losing to, when we went through our list at the beginning of the year and we're like, all right, we're going to win this one, we're going to lose this one, we're going to win this one. Nobody had that we were going to beat the Cowboys. And sure enough, we did. But I think most of us thought we were going to beat the Eagles. And now we're going into the bye week when just such lost opportunity. It's so frustrating. It's so depressing.
Mm-hmm. No, and you know what? This is more than likely, in hindsight, when I think about it, this is Bridgewater's kind of moment where he just jumped the shark. For me, in terms of Drew Lock, his moment was when he came in that Ravens game, and that was his moment to shine, and he couldn't do it. And although not all of that was on him, because that was also on the offensive coordinator for not being able to shift the playbook into something that plays more to Drew's strength, but still, this whole thing with Bridgewater, I mean, even though it's not been confirmed that he lost the locker room, I'm pretty sure that it took just the wind out of, just the sails of the team, especially kind of going back to what Kevin was saying about us losing to Dallas but beating the Eagles. Would we still feel the same way? And I think that the win against Dallas is kind of what just got all this inspiration out of everybody in Broncos country, especially the guys in the locker room, that says, hey, you know what, this team can beat anybody, whether they're the best in our conference or their conference, offensively, defensively, whatever it is. And then you go against the Eagles, a team that's been really struggling themselves to find their own identity, and then you lay an egg and you just come out playing like that going into your bye week. So the Broncos just needed to find kind of find a way to get back into that momentum and keep that momentum, not just, win one game, lose two, win one game, lose two, especially going into the second half of the season.
Yeah, and No Name had brought up a comment earlier saying Locke is not as good a QB. We sold Von for what? Shameful display of personnel management, no excuse for Peyton. Now, I will say the Von trade was a good deal all around. I mean, you look at what George Payton was looking at, that being in the position that he's at, he knows where this team actually stands. Does Peyton believe that we're going to make a playoff push? I highly doubt it. So he did what he thought was right. He got what he could for Von Miller, because I'm assuming that he knew that it was going to be very, very difficult to re-sign Von Miller at the end of the year. So he made a trade.
Expensive.
And expensive. So he made a trade to get what he could out of Von Miller. What are we going to do with those picks? My guess is use them in a trade to grab a trade from the Seahawks or the Packers, or like a Rodgers or a Wilson trade. Or if we can't do that, trade up and try to get first, second pick in the draft and go after a quarterback. That would be my guess.
Yeah, and we only had a third round. We had one third round offer up to that point, and then the Rams are like, "All right, we'll give you."
We don't care about draft picks here.
Yeah, I hear 2 and a 3. You just pay the $9 million. Like, okay,
sold.
So like that's. I mean, it was a deal. I mean, he's an aging edge rusher now. He's so great. He's still doing great, but it is NFL, man.
Steve Starkovich says trade up to draft another receiver. Yeah.
Speaking of receivers,
the other day where that was the case, and I was like, oof, no.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I get that Patrick might not be back. I get that. I would hope we would sign either Sutton or Patrick, at least one of them.
Well, and I don't understand why we can't sign both. Like, we have plenty of cap space to be able to sign both, especially not having to worry about Von Miller. I mean, we're looking at not having to worry as much about linebackers. I mean, you would think that there would be enough space to concentrate on Sutton and Patrick.
Because
and here's where I was
just going to cost is like Galladay just got like what, a $15 million.
Mm-hmm.
19.
He got a fat
contract. Wasn't it going to be like 70-something million
around
with the carryover next year?
but still, you're paying. I mean, that adds up after a while. And we have how many people that are, or how many players that are supposed to be free agents, and now you're going to be spending on two. Say each of them gets, I mean, say 13 and a 15 or whatever, right? I mean, that's taken up almost half of it already. So on two receivers, which are not like crazy high value positions, like you can get receivers. So it's really about what you want to do and who you have at quarterback. I think the priority is going to be obviously coaching at first, then quarterback, and then building around it.
My concern too is are these players that we're, deciding whether we want to resign, are they going to want to stay? When the look on Tim Patrick's face on that last play when Teddy launched it over his head was just sheer disgust. I don't want anything to do with this place. Yeah. I've not seen that expression on his face before. And I'm like, man, is Patrick considering us? We're targeting Cortland Sutton 3 times in a game. Does he want to stay? It's like,
well, and you would hope that by the time that decision is having to be made, whether he wants to resign or not, we already have a new coach in place. We have an idea of maybe what quarterback we're going to have or go after, So, I mean, right now, they might be a little disgusted, but I think we're all pretty much aware that we're probably not going to have the same coaches and we're probably not going to have the same quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Or if we do, we at least we're retaining a quarterback, but we have another one that's either a rookie or, one that we're working with.
Yeah. Can you pull up Rich's comment about
which one?
Right guy? The right guy? Because I feel like this is
guy
at the top. It's do we trust Elway, Payton, and Ellis to sign the right guy as far as coaching?
You have to do the air quotes.
Oh, you said near the top. That was second to the bottom.
Oh, it's top.
I scrolled all the way up, dude.
Top on ours.
I was scrolling all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah, I'm looking right at it. I'm like, it's at the bottom.
So, Mike, your settings have any rich comments go straight to the bottom?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
As far as right guy, man, I feel like there is no right guy. Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to just take a swing on who you think is going to be best and just hope it pans out. Like, no one thought Bill Belichick was going to be the right guy. Like Pete Carroll coming back from college being the right guy, or like how many Broncos fans were super excited when Vic Fangio was hired. Like we were all like, yeah, Vic Fangio. Everybody wanted it. So it's just very.
Here's a guy who hasn't gotten a coaching job in 30 years. No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know, but it was like a high every.
No, it was big. I know.
I was
excited.
I will say though, like I am hoping that at the point to where we're hiring new coaches, that Elway and Ellis don't really have much of a say. To be honest with you,
they should be on the
because look at the last couple coaches they've hired. Like, no, thank you.
Ellis is done, isn't he?
Zach was saying is that
so is Elway.
They're essentially gone. Like they have no role anymore. Like they're just there.
But then you hear the other reports of oh well, Peyton went to Elway to discuss this and they came up with this decision. Like I don't even want him to be let Peyton hire who he wants.
Well, Elway's contract is up at the end of the year, so there it is. So it's. I don't think it's going to be an issue at all, and I'm excited to see who Peyton hires because I think he'll hire some no BS type of guy that will be hopefully very good for us.
Yeah. So let's kind of switch gears and go into players that are on the roster that we feel played well or that should be starting instead of other players, such as Quinn Miners. That guy was fantastic. He was the best offensive lineman on the team playing on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
Agreed.
We also saw a lot of struggles from both tackles, Calvin Anderson and Cam Fleming. I hope that after the bye we can have Bowles back, which it sounds like we will. Mm-hmm. And we can also have Bobby Massey back, which it sounds like we're going to get him back after the bye too. So I'm hoping
we sign Bobby Massey, just at least a year another year.
See, and I was fine with DeMar Dotson too, and we didn't sign him back either.
I like Bobby Massey all around more than
DeMar.
Agree.
And and I have no love lost for Calvin Anderson. I love the guy, but he's not at this point.
No love lost. I love him.
Yeah, he's not better than Garrett Bowles at this point. He's not.
No, I think he's very solid backup left tackle though. I think he's like good depth, good. Which is, man, do you need that in the NFL?
Yeah. I think we know that Reisner is best when he's pulling. We've seen that in multiple games. He's at his best when he's pulling. I think the one issue that we have, at least the biggest outstanding issue, is Cushenberry.
Yeah, he hasn't shown any progression since last year, and it seems that even though the rest of the offensive line, as much as it's been changing over the last week or so with injuries and then just trying to figure itself out, he's the only one where his job was already on the line with Miners getting drafted, but I believe he caught a little bit of a break with Glasgow being out for the season and Miners having to fill that guard position. But I don't think that Cushenberry is out of the woods yet, because if he doesn't show any signs of improvement, or he has to get it together, because I don't see him being on this team as a starter next year. I could see him get demoted if the Broncos go and get somebody off of free agency, or even worse than that, being cut. So I have to believe that Mike Munchak is also seeing it, and he's got to be in his ear kind of saying like, hey man, you got to get better. It's not, you had 1 year, you got your rookiness out of you. You got to play better.
Your rookiness.
Yeah, your rookiness. It's a word.
I think
it's like your highness, right?
Your highness, yeah.
We definitely have stuff to work on, but we're also giving Teddy plenty of time in the pocket for a majority of the snaps. So it's not like they're getting just demoralized out there. Like they're doing fine, and you're never going to have a perfect offensive line. You're never going to have a majority of these good quarterbacks still have to deal with lines that aren't the best some of the time, and so that's just the NFL. That's just how it is. So I think that it is something that we need to work on, and I actually do like our depth and our the youth at offensive line, and I think that we can, like I was saying about Bobby Massey, is if we re-sign him, that gives us an opportunity to build more depth and hopefully some young tackles that we can groom up.
One of the things I like about our offensive line too, especially with having Cushenberry in the middle, is that overall the combined salary for the whole group is, because they're so young, is not exorbitant. Garrett signed to a good sized contract that almost immediately started getting eclipsed by other left tackles. So even the timing on that extension was smart. But we don't want to start necessarily bringing guys in free agency in positions where we have this cost control. We have these young guys that are cheaper. We want to be able to allocate those funds and those picks and such to other positions. So I'm really hoping that that they do stick with Lloyd.
And one thing that does help with offensive lines is when you have a quarterback that knows how to pre-snap well enough to be able to get balls off. You know what I mean? When he knows a blitz is coming, he can get the ball to his quick read. It's a quarterback and offensive line is, as much as it's the most obvious thing to say ever, they work together. And the better the quarterback, the better the offensive line. The better the offensive line, the better the quarterback. So, but let's just go get Russell Wilson. I'll chip in.
That'll work.
Well, Boggins, you live near him. Can you put in a good?
Go over to
Go and talk to him. Hey, you and Sierra, come here. We're gonna have a chat.
She goes to. I'll go over there. I'll
subliminal message while the worship's going on in your mind.
Yeah. Come to Denver.
Wilson to Denver. Wilson to Denver.
Yeah.
Now, one change that we did see that I thought was good. Javontay Williams wasn't technically the starter, but he did have more snaps and more carries. I'm not saying that Melvin Gordon is a bad running back. He's a good running back. But he fumbles at the most inopportune times. Do we think that Williams is now going to take on more of the carries after that fumble from Gordon?
I would say so. And he's not going to get taken out of the rotation completely, because like we keep saying on this channel, on the show, the Broncos are paying him a lot of money to, run the football. But you have to believe that he's getting on the coaching staff's nerves with all these fumbles, even though it's his first or second one of the year. Second, thank you. So even one is more, especially for a guy of his caliber. And I don't really see Melvin Gordon coming back and getting another contract with the Broncos next year. I don't see George Payton shelling out $16 million to sign him.
Well, and I will say the one big struggle that we've seen from Pookie is red zone. Mm-hmm. He struggles a lot in red zone trying to get to the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a vision thing. Like that's something that he is not the greatest at so far, is knowing his vision is not the greatest, but that's something that you get as you continue. That's like one of the on the lowest part of my list for running backs as far as vision, because a lot of the times that's something you can build on, and a lot of times you can teach a lot better of. The Melvin Gordon fumbling thing, I don't know. I don't hold it as that big of an issue, because like out of how many snaps he's fumbled twice this year, and he's also one of the leading scorers of our team currently. So it's
with some dynamic touchdowns, some
very dynamic touchdowns. But it's so easy to forget once he fumbles in a very inopportune time. Did it suck? Yeah, it wasn't great, but I mean,
and I still think it's going to be RB1, RB2, split snaps.
Yeah.
But
Javontay's the future, though.
Are we going to see more of Javontay on first and second down, and then more of Gordon in the red zone? Because it seems like it's been the opposite. We've seen more of Gordon on first and second, and then more of Williams in the red zone. So do you think we're going to flip it, where we see more of Williams on the main part of the field, and then more of Gordon in the red zone?
I'm still waiting to see where Mike Boone fits in all this scheme. I know he's been injured, and I know that they've been more than special teams, but he still makes a pretty good running back. And so I'd like to see him, carry the ball, even if he is designated as a third running back. But I believe that he can be a guy that if you put him out there, even if he's behind Javontay or Melvin Gordon, that he can really do some damage out there like he did when he was in Minnesota.
Just going back to what Boggins was saying, up until that fumble, everybody was satisfied with Melvin. They were raving about his performance against Dallas. I mean, there was talk about, I think the Broncos will probably bring him back on some sort of a short deal, certainly not the same annual salary that he's making, but we could see him coming back. And then that one play, and now the guy sucks. We've turned on him. I will have to say, he had a charity event the next day at Top Golf, and he was interviewed, and they asked him about the Teddy fumble, or the Teddy effort, lack thereof. And I hated his answer, because not once did he goes, well, you got to support your guy, this and that. But not once did he say, you know what, had I not dropped the ball, none of this would have happened. He didn't take he didn't even reference it. He was a part of the play. And at that moment, I'm like, what's his part to this? It was a little disappointing, but this fan base is so frustrated over the last few years that one play can make you turn on somebody to the point of I never want to see this guy in a uniform again. It's the toxicity is really, really bad.
But yes, Pookie is good. Did someone call that? I don't know. Let's look around. Did someone say that he was good?
Just give yourself the pat on the shoulder, Boggins.
Oh, okay.
Well,
with the whole Pookie, but Pookie's touchdown, a holding call, these inopportune holding penalties that by the way, were not from our offensive line; they were from our tight ends.
Yeah,
And it wasn't even Fant. It was
Albert.
it was Salbert and Albert.
Albert. Yeah, sorry.
I know it was just.
Both
I mean,
of them.
if only we had Jeff Driscoll as our tight end, he wouldn't be doing.
I knew
any
that was
holding.
going to come up.
Segway.
No, we're not segueing to that.
We didn't talk about it when he was on the team. We're not going to.
So let's go from offensive line to the defensive side. The defensive side is where I was the most frustrated because you had some really good chemistry between defensive players against the Cowboys, and then you started other players. Now, obviously, Baron Browning getting hurt was not opportune. I think there was a lot of struggle after Browning went out because he is that main guy. And he's definitely at a different talent level than what's his face?
Robinson?
Yeah, there you go. But at the same time, it's like
Then who'd you say?
Curtis Robinson?
yeah,
Oh,
Curtis
Curtis
Robinson.
Robinson
At the same time, it's
We all
like
are.
Yeah.
Poor guy. I mean, honestly, talk about being thrown in.
I know that we just re-signed Mike Purcell, but he's not it. He's struggling a lot at that defensive tackle position. Same thing goes with Malik Reed. I honestly believe like Malik Reed is good on the back end of the pass rush. He doesn't have a fast first step. And he doesn't get like Steve. And I said it on Broncos Talk, I think last week, Stephen Weatherly is that guy that just is in the way all the time. He's where he's supposed to be, and he makes the guy either cut in or cut out into his other defenders. Malik Reed doesn't do that.
Careful, he might turn into a Shaq Barrett because
He might.
That happens all the time. So careful.
Yeah. It's
Careful.
just like I would rather see Williams at defensive tackle, and I would rather
Javontay
see
Williams?
yeah.
Cool.
I'd rather see him there, and I'd rather see. Why are you smiling at me?
I said
Because you
Javontay
obviously-
Williams.
No,
You said
Deshaun.
yeah. You said yeah. I said cool.
No, not that one. Not that Williams.
Jesus.
Deshaun Williams.
If Pookie turns out to be the best two-way player in NFL history,
Right?
Boggins
He's
is
a
really
linebacker.
Another Bo Jackson.
He was a
And
linebacker.
then I would much rather have Stephen Weatherly out there than Malik Reed.
If only we had a nickname for Weatherly. But anyway,
Like the Angry Aviator.
Glass blower. Did you hear that? You heard that interview, right? Where he was like, he was a judge, a guest judge on a glass blowing show on
the reality show on Netflix.
like, who are you? Like, oh yeah, they called me up and wanted to what?
Okay. The fun fact of the day for me was finding out that Kenny Young was an intern for Colin Cowherd at FS1 when he was in college. That was news to us. Then that was a great interview, by the way. On
If he becomes bigger, you know that Colin Cowherd's gonna be like, oh, I remember Kenny. Don't lie.
Yeah. Well, we've all had jobs.
Cowherd did say he was his most athletic intern he's ever had.
Yeah. It's not. I thought it was going to work. It's not working. The chat overlay is not working. Sorry, I was going to turn it on and check it out, but whatever.
It just worked for me.
Oh, I didn't see it. So yeah, and then there's Fuller.
Oh Jesus.
Like I know Bassey wasn't ready to go yet. You would hope that Bassey's going to be the one to fill in for Fuller because Fuller ain't it.
I'm excited to have Ojemudia back after the bye though.
Well, because he's a COVID situation now, not a hamstring situation. So
right. And we also had there was that PS2 was getting torched by some people on Twitter about giving up that touchdown pass, but he had perfect coverage. Perfect coverage. Like he got his arm on the ball and the ball like bent around his arm. It was weird. Like you couldn't have played it any better. It was just a great catch.
At that point, you slow clap for Javontay. Like well done.
Way to go, Rook. Way to go.
Rook on Rook.
So do we think that there's going to be any defensive changes as far as personnel? Do we think Purcell still goes out there, or do we think Deshaun Williams is going to go out there? Is it still going to be Reed, or are we going to see more Weatherly? Are there going to be any changes at all?
Hopefully we get Bradley Chubb back. Bringing him back can make us rotate Weatherly on opposite sides of the ball. And I agree with your take on Malik Reed, Mundungus. I was kind of high on him last year. I thought he did a pretty good job, filling in for Von Miller. But this year so far, it's kind of been like he hasn't been the worst, but you kind of feel like he could play better, more to his strengths. But
I think what you meant to say was more better to his strength.
More better to his strength. Yeah, thank you.
More better.
Yeah. So, hopefully we see a bit of an upgrade from him. Otherwise, I don't know how Vic Fangio likes to do his linebackers in terms of benching them, but he could maybe get behind either Weatherly or Chubb when Chubb does come back.
I think any of the defensive changes are really good because this coaching staff has shown that they're not really open to making a lot of different alternate moves are really going to be based on the guys we're getting back from injury. So, I mean, that's and not so much that they're swapping some of the guys that are on the roster currently. So, I mean, that's what I would expect. Right. So with that said, in 2 weeks, who do you guys think our linebackers are starting?
Do we know if Chubb is going to be back?
Well, that's part of your guess, right?
He's slated to come back around this. This was the timeline they gave him. So
who do I think, or who do I hope? Who do I think?
Do both.
Because I mean, if it's who I think is going to be starting, I don't think Fangio is going to make a change. So it'll be Reed and it'll be Cooper. Because
you don't think Chubb? What about Chubb?
Well, when Chubb is fully healthy and back, it'll be Chubb. It'll be Chubb and
back.
Yeah, I would think my assumption is that it would be Chubb and Cooper, because I don't think that the coaches could survive a Cooper benching for Reed. I don't think that would be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I definitely think they would put in Reed more because he's more experienced, and that's what they're going off of for sure. I mean, Cooper has been good. Like, he had that one big game for sure. He's definitely needs work in the run game, but like, I think they would go with the experience and Chubb and Reed to start the game.
More anger onto the fire.
So Chubb, Reed, Young, and Browning. Is that what you would expect?
Yep.
Yeah, I would sub out Reed for Weatherly. I think Chubb and Weatherly would make a pretty good duo.
So you're bypassing Cooper too.
So you're bypassing Cooper as well. So no Cooper.
Yeah, because I mean, Cooper, like Boggin said, Cooper has had his highlights, but he does struggle on the run. So I guess it depends on who the team the Broncos are facing. If they're facing a really good running back, then maybe you would implement Reed in there more than Cooper. But Chubb and Weatherly would be my starters.
Steve might be onto something for the linebackers.
Sam and Will.
I don't know.
Well played.
Mike is pretty good too.
Mike is.
Oh man. All right. So do we? After the Dallas game, we had talked about Denver making a playoff push. Do we still see a playoff push?
No,
in the future?
God no. Absolutely not.
God no.
Not at 5-5. No.
And hey man, I will love it if like whoever is like, oh, Bogdan's being negative, whatever. Please come back and just rub it all in my face after I'm wrong. Like if I'm wrong, for sure. Excited, rub it in my face.
I mean, there's a part of me that really wants this team to go to the playoffs, a wild card spot, but even if this team does and they go up against the best of the best, I mean, can you really count that? We don't know what team is going to go out there. Are we going to get the team that lost to the Eagles or the team that shut out the Cowboys? I mean, at this point, it's pretty unpredictable, but hopefully they can make a playoff push, and maybe that'll get them inspired and riled up, and to go out there and play their best, whoever our starting quarterback is.
but this week. Don, you're talking about playing the best of the best. Like, this has been the most screwed up NFL season. I mean, talk about unpredictable. the teams that we were criticized for beating at the beginning of the year have ended up beating other major players. And so like in the AFC, who is the best of the best at this point? I mean, do
Titans.
I think we're going to make the playoffs? What?
Titans. Even without Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
they're
even without
scary
Derrick
good.
Henry and Arthur Smith, and they're still
until
scary good.
until they have a bad game this week or something, you know. And then the Chiefs come out on fire, but how are they going to play against Chiefs come out on fire against the Raiders, but how are they going to do against the Cowboys? You know, it's so unpredictable. I mean, where are we going to end up for a record? We've got 7 games left. Do we win 3?
I'll let you know when we play like our
Three.
second divisional game, because we haven't really even started our divisional games yet.
Yeah.
We should play Drew Lock versus the Chargers though, because he seems to
Have their number.
like making those games interesting. So we'll just throw him in there for that, just for that game. You know?
Well, and that's one of the things that I kind of want to cover. I mean, what do you think our final record's going to be? I mean, I think the most aggravating part of this whole thing is like if we end up going 7-10 or 8-9, it's like, yeah, we're an okay team and the coaches may be gone, but we're still picking like 14th, 15th, 16th, and we're going to have to use a whole lot of draft capital to move up into those first 3 picks. So it's like it sucks, but like, and let's say that we don't win another game and we go 5-12. Like we're still going to be picking like 10th or 11th.
Yeah,
So you want to do tanking for Tua?
No, I don't want to tank. I just like I either want to be really good or really bad. Like I hate being in the middle.
I think we might get 7 wins.
I think 8.
Okay, so who are the 2 that we beat?
Detroit.
Who are the 2?
Detroit.
Yeah, if we go 7-10, then we're going to win 2 more games.
I think we
Lions,
split with the Chargers, the Lions, and
Bengals probably.
Bengals.
So you don't think we win a division game?
That's 3, Don.
I know. I said 8 and 9.
Okay.
No, I don't.
I am going to be the optimistic one and say that we're not going to win anymore. I there's no trust at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because
we come out and we beat the Chargers.
You look at the Lions, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that the Lions have the most talented roster, but they fight and they fight hard, like every game.
Yeah.
So
no kneecap is safe.
You know what we need to do is we need to have low expectations. Because what happened? Right? We went into the Cowboys with low expectations that we were like,
and we won. So I'm going to say that we win no more games, and hopefully we win like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
You know?
Reverse psychology, Mike.
Exactly. That's what we're doing.
I guess I'll have to pick the opponent every game because I've been wrong all season long.
Yeah.
Go Chargers.
I see us at 9-8. I think we win. I think we win Lions, Bengals, 1 against the Chargers, and I think we beat the Raiders. I
forgot about the Raiders.
I think
they looked really bad in their last game.
They looked really bad.
Yeah, we look really bad.
Well, I know, but when you looked at the Raiders, the Raiders looked like a bad, really good team. You know what I mean? Like one of those 10, 11, 12 win teams.
Yeah.
But now they looked bad.
Like more than normal bad.
Like bad. Like bad. Denver bad.
Yeah.
Too far, Mike.
That's not too far. Too soon.
Like someone I don't remember who it was, put out the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, and 3 of AFC West quarterbacks were in that top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to mention the Broncos are still in it to win the division. So that's not a far off dream either.
I think Carr was the best one on there, wasn't he?
What?
Well, up until last year.
I thought Carr was ranked the highest, and then it was Mahomes, and then it was Herbert.
Really?
I don't remember seeing that, but maybe.
Me neither.
That would be weird.
That would be
weird. Just like our comment stream on the side, guys. Mike's is completely opposite. Where he has Derek Carr above Patrick.
Oh no, really? Yeah.
Leave me alone. Yeah, I don't know.
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Is that popping up for you? Because I'm not seeing it.
I'm not seeing it. I guess because nobody's typing. I guess it comes up whenever somebody types.
I quit.
Oh.
I quit. Okay, let's see. Titans lost to the Jets. Yeah, well, it happens. we lost to the Eagles, so there.
No, yeah.
Let's see here.
And a Browns
Titans
team
lost to the
that's
Jets.
going on.
Bengals were on fire. They lost to the Jets.
Rich says he
Yeah.
sees 6 or 7 wins. I'm assuming total. 6-7 win team.
You do not assume that.
Why? Unless he's thinking we're going to win like the next 6 or 7. 9-8 might make the playoffs. Ooh.
I think 10 will, but you may be right. I don't know.
Wild card.
It's so jammed up.
Yeah, it's gonna be a race to the finish for that wild card spot. That's for sure.
So what do you think of tonight? You get to see your guy Mac Jones tonight, Mike.
Hey, I'm just going to say, like, I was the one that was like, yes, let's draft Mac Jones. He'd be perfect.
For this coaching staff is what you said. And when they change it in a year, we're going to be screwed. I believe.
Well, we would have been good for that one. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I don't know. I think it's. I don't think Atlanta's got a shot. So I think New England's sneaky good. They're going to be one of those sneaky good teams. So I'm thinking New England's going to take tonight.
Can't count out Belichick except for last year.
Let's do AFC West prediction. So we've got let's see, we got the Raiders playing the Bengals. They're both 5-4. Who takes that game?
I'm gonna say Bengals.
Oh, where it's at Bengals?
Yeah, it's at Vegas.
Oh.
Okay, how'd you say yeah and then at Vegas if you said at Bengals?
Same reason you said Javontay Williams was.
Leave me alone.
Our new defensive line.
Boomerang.
I'll go Las Vegas. I'll go Vegas.
I'm going Raiders on that one too.
Yeah, it's at Vegas. Then we have the Chargers and the Steelers.
Yeah, well, if Big Ben comes back, I can see the Steelers beating them, but no Big Ben, Chargers. So I'm going to say Chargers. I think he's had one more week to clear.
Yeah.
I'll go Chargers on that too.
I'm not a Steelers believer, man. They're just super inconsistent. But man, is TJ Watt good.
Yeah,
he's so good.
He is so good.
And then we've got the Chiefs and the Cowboys.
I hate seeing both of those teams win, but I think the Chiefs just got lucky with the Raiders last week, so I can see the Cowboys winning that game.
I was about to ask where it's at, but we all know that Cowboys don't have home field advantage.
Wow.
I think Cowboys too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here.
I think Chiefs.
Okay. So basically all AFC West teams are winning.
Yeah.
Not me. I said Chiefs.
Denver's going to lose their bye game.
28-3.
Let's see here. Raiders win. Chargers win. I'm clicking faster than the thing can keep up. Raiders win. There we go. Dallas wins. Avatar says that the Bengals win, the Chargers win, and the Cowboys win. Wow.
I could live with that.
That Bengals game is interesting.
Yeah.
That's a big one for us because if we, I mean, I don't know why I'm talking about playoffs. This is an area.
Playoffs?
Never mind. That's the water talking.
Keep the hope up.
That's the water talking.
Keep the hope up.
Hey man, I don't remember what Seahawks, what year it was where the Seahawks made it to the playoffs with like 9-7. So like
weren't they 7-9?
2 years.
Washington was 7-9.
Yeah, Washington was 7-9.
Yeah, and they made it. They won that wild card spot,
and they almost beat Brady.
Wasn't it both Giants teams that won the Super Bowl? Weren't they 9-7?
Yeah, they went in as wild cards too, I think, or one of those seasons.
So it's possible, guys.
Yeah, but still.
Marcus Boggins, motivational speaker.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to about do it for us. Not a whole lot to do on the bye week, man. Like, I wish there was a game, but there's not. So we get to watch some good football as opposed to Broncos football with the games after this week. So make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, turn on notifications so you can catch all of our content when it is posted. Make sure you're also tuning in to Broncos Talk every Tuesday at 7654. The Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast on Fridays at 7654. And the pregame show, The Neighborhood, that airs before every Broncos game. Obviously, there's not one this weekend. You can also catch all the audio versions of the podcast on the major podcast streaming services. Links are all in the description below. We love you all. We love Broncos country. Now we got to do the all-time super famous Mile High Five. So everybody, get your arms out, except for Boggins, because he's just going to sneak out of it anyways. Mile High Five! Woo!
Everyone froze.
The boss
No,
lagged
they
on my
didn't.
screen.
I don't care. We're ending it that way.
I did my Teddy Mile high five. I just stood there.
Dude, you had to flinch just a little bit.
He was like,
Yeah, that's a Mile High 4. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the Nothing Rise and Orange and Blue podcast.